Welcome to our presentation on the topic of skills and business in Melusi. We are honored to present to you our research findings from quarter one of this academic year. Today, we will begin by sharing some of the stories of the community members we met. Thereafter, we will detail the process we followed in gathering our data and further elaborate on what these findings mean, while touching on the background and academic framework on which our research is based. Finally, we will touch on Mido's involvement in assisting to make a better sense of the data we gathered and discuss the way forward from there. We are the Skills and Business team for Melusi. My name is Darren Franciscus from the University of Pretoria, along with my fellow students Kayla Potgieter and Varusha Govender. And also, all the way from Chalmers University in Sweden, we have Gustav Fjellheim, Yael Kallenberg, and Nina Tran. Furthermore, we would also like to send an extended thanks to our partners in this research project. This goes out to the University of Pretoria, Chalmers University of Technology, and the combined efforts of both the Urban Citizen and Reality Studios. We would also like to say a special thank you to the Melusi Youth Development Organization and the NRF SASTA team for supporting this project. To begin, we would like to bring your attention to 3 entrepreneurs in Melusi that will speak to the current issues facing many businesses within the community.
First up, we have George, the tire repairman. He had to drop out of law school due to a lack of finances in his second year, and he has dreams of returning. He is currently working towards this goal by working alongside his uncle and running a tire repair shop in Melusi. He requires assistance to get his business to where he would like it to be. He mentions that he would like to expand his workforce and expand his market. But above all else, and in order to do so, he needs to get his business registered. Next up, we have James and his brickmaking workshop and hardware store. He currently experiences supply issues in terms of sourcing sand cement for his business, mentioning the fact that he does not have enough money to purchase cement. He mentions that he struggles making connections in order to get more favorable prices for making these purchases. And finally, we met Andreas, who owns a talk shop, selling a variety of goods to the community. His dream is to grow his business and employ more people as to eradicate poverty in the community to give something back. In order to do so, he wants to get his prices down to become more competitive with the stores outside of the settlement. Therefore, he needs to be able to buy in bulk to decrease his prices. Due to the size of his store, this option is not a possibility for him on his own.
These stories tie into 3 aims and objectives that we have set out and to achieve with the community, being hope, ambition, and co-development, all working together to amplify the voices of those affected in the community, and setting out common goals, fostering the dreams of future entrepreneurs and expanding existing networks for all businesses in Melusi.
After our initial site introductions, we had a group dynamics and needs finding workshop where we started asking questions like, what skills do you have and are you interested in starting a business? We then identified a need for connections of businesses within Melusi and a need for skill sharing workshops.
After identifying key skills, interests, and needs, it was crucial that we move forward to identifying a development framework as part of creating a proposal fit for Melusi that addressed those aspects. In the text towards a systematic development approach, the writer mentions that in order to develop a model that contributes to the well-being of a community, they first need to identify the basic needs and what satisfies those needs. Thereafter, a development model can be derived which would lead to the betterment of the well-being and quality of life of people like George, James, and Andreas by putting the economy at the service of the people and not vice versa. Because of the nature of the framework we were looking for, we were led to Max Neef's Human Scale Development Matrix, which proposes a tri-relationship between needs, satisfiers, and material goods. The matrix was developed by identifying the fundamental human needs, axiological, and the existing outworkings thereof, ontological. These were then cross-referenced and satisfiers were identified, which then could be materialized. On this slide, we can see Max Neef's human scale development matrix. The red being the framework for the needs matrix, and the green being the identified satisfiers. We identified that creation was the fundamental human need we were aiming to address through skills and businesses. Pulling creation out, we can see that A key quality to satisfy this would be ambition, determination, intuition, etc. Things that people must possess to satisfy this need would be abilities, skills, methods, work ethic, and so forth. Actions that can be taken would be work to invent, to build, to design, to compose, and interpret. And finally, settings that would facilitate creation would include things like feedback sessions, workshops, cultural groups, and so forth. By looking at the satisfiers, we are able to narrow down our focus to proposals that target abilities, skills, methods, and work creation in settings like feedback groups, workshops, cultural groups, audiences, and so forth, in order for George, James, and Andreas to develop the material goods to satisfy their needs in Melusi's current economic systems.
On our sidewalks, we had some initial experiences and observations, namely a vibrant main street consisting of the most economic activities, proud business owners wanting to better their financial and business skills, and a community wanting to support each other's ambitions. For our data collection on site, we were provided a questionnaire that were conducted through interviews, sketching, and taking pictures. This data was collected on the ArcGIS platform, where we could create maps and graphs of our findings. On our sidewalks, we also met a few interesting business owners that we spoke about in our previous slides. Firstly, being the tire repairman. Secondly, being the brickmaker who runs his own hardware store. And thirdly, the tuck shop owner who sells a selection of sweets at the entrance of Melusi.
From our sidewalks, we gathered information on the different economy activity taking place in Melusi by noting the location and which they take place and what type of business is being conducted. As you can see here, there's a variety of shops and services in the settlement, such as retail, eateries, or barbershops. From the data gathered, we can see that the spread of economy activities throughout Melusi varies, with many locating themselves along the main entrance into the settlement, leading in from Theus Levitt Street. Some businesses still spread themselves out around the dwellings of Melusi, deeper in the settlement. Thanks to the ArcGIS software, every team was able to contribute to the data set produced a more comprehensive coverage of the area of Melusi. Taking a look at the retail activities present in Melusi, we see that both Andreas and James find themselves along the main street of Melusi, where most of the other businesses are situated as well. Taking a look back to the chart, we can see that there are many more entrepreneurs just like James and Andreas. Through analysis of the data gathered by our collective efforts, we can make more informed choices on the way forward from here, to face issues like higher prices of their goods because of a lack of connection to bigger suppliers from the outside of the community, or a missing network between the business owners in Melusi.
The survey asked participants whether or not they would like to run a business in a group. Thereafter, we overlaid this data with the data displaying the spread of retail activities present in the area. Through analyzing the locality of these points, we can assess that there may be opportunities to connect these entrepreneurs with similar business types in the area. Therefore, going back to the issues on the pricing of goods for resale and production, mentioned earlier by James and Andreas. George required assistance registering his business for further expansion. He could then be informed of Mido's presence in the community, who already provides such advice for business owners, above a multitude of other offerings of support. Our combined efforts in surveying members of the community was able to produce a substantial amount of data to pull our findings from, providing insight into many questions and concerns raised from the people of Melusi. We were able to see that many of Melusi's residents were still looking for employment. And when this is compared with the datasets illustrating who amongst the community were open to starting businesses of their own, we can see a clear likeness in these two quantities. The shaded area therefore displays the overlapping areas where these figures come together. There is a clear link between unemployment in the community and those willing to create their own opportunities through starting businesses.
On the general questionnaire, there was a question in which the respondents were asked to select which skills they had to start and run a business from a list of predefined options. From the 306 answers to this question in Melusi, we see the majority is confident about bookkeeping and business ideas. But maybe the most important info we get from this is what people feel unable to do. From the bottom of this graph, at least according to the questionnaire, the 5 least common business skills in Melusi are that 13 said they were aware of government business support schemes. 17 said they had business training. 18 said they were part or aware of local business networks or forums. 25 knows where to get help if their business would struggle. 26 says they know how to get loans or investments for their business. I stress that this is out of 306 who answered this question. If there was only somewhere where you could learn these skills.
At a later point, we visited the Mido Center to learn more about the businesses within Melusi. We had a meeting with Mr. Malachi to discuss what information we can exchange. We then came to the conclusion that we could show mapping on all the types of businesses and who are willing to work together. Mido has many initiatives consisting of after-school care, a feeding scheme, and youth empowerment. They also host workshops on entrepreneurial skills, namely how to keep record of money and technical business skills, basic computer skills, and a life scheme helping the community find work. The most important initiative for our area is uplifting existing businesses where they help advocate for local businesses, help startups achieve their goals, and help create circular systems within Melusi, where local businesses could help support each other. Most of these initiatives do rely on external donors though. So what we can do to help Mido with the initiatives is to show our findings of what connections there is within the community's businesses, so they could start introduce similar business owners to each other, with the idea of creating relationships and maybe even future collaborations, since groups usually thrive. This could also give businesses the opportunity to buy products in bulk, thus lowering the cost of products and transport.
Now, finally, we would like to tie this all together. First, connecting back with our 3 aims and objectives mentioned earlier in the presentation. We have shown hope in our stories, in that people want to reinvest in the community. We have shown ambition. We have seen the will to expand and evolve within the community. We have shown co-development from 2 sides, people being willing to collaborate amongst themselves, and Mido doing interventions, enabling businesses. The point of this presentation was to show what we have learned and the value of our work, which is on-site experience for us to better understand the reality of Melusi, collecting data to inform and push positive intervention, interpretation, making sense of data, with ours and community representatives' experiences and knowledge. Lastly, we have made a suggestion to connect Mido and businesses of Melusi. And now, finally, thank you all. We are all here because we all want to see positive change in Melusi. You have seen what we have done till now, but what is more important is what we all do from here. We all want to make Andreas, the tuck shop owner's dream come true, to eradicate poverty in our neighborhoods. Thank you for listening.